Do you have any idea what this is? It's called Stanley, the Stanley Milgram experiment. Now, this experiment was inspired by historical accounts. So during World War II, you probably are aware of the events that happened in Europe and to the other parts of the world wherein Nazi Germany occupied different countries and did war crimes, and a lot of people died, right? And the key factor in the supposed quote unquote success of Nazi Germany was the obedience of Hitler's second and third in command, his officers, his generals, right? Were following his orders, regardless of how heinous they were. Heinous being very bad, very, very genocidal. And he was wondering, will people just follow orders even though they will harm other people? Even though the orders or the pressure is to harm another person, will people still follow it? Just people in general. Not just bad people, but people, you and me. Are we going to follow the bad instructions? Well, that's what this study is about, all right? So let's look at the experiment setup, and maybe we can gain some insight from this setup, all right? So this is the test taker. Well, this is the participant, okay? And the participant was given this instruction. So this participant was paid a certain amount, right? Given a certain amount of money to participate in the study. And then this guy is what we call the experimenter. So this is actually the psychologist or the researcher, and he has specific script on what to say to the participant. All right, so he would say something like this: thank you for participating in this study. Here are the instructions. In front of you is a panel, right, with switches, and the switches indicate voltage or how high the electricity is, and you will flip that switch, which will harm another person in another room. There is a person in another room bound to a chair, and that person will be asked to answer multiple choice questions, A, B, C, or D. And that person will flip a switch to tell you his or her own answer. If that person gives the wrong answer in the test, which is just a word pair or vocabulary test, all right? If this learner or this person gives the wrong answer, you flip the switch, which will electrocute the person. For the next wrong answer, you flip the other switch, which is a bit higher in terms of voltage, up to the end. And the level of voltage has indicators where it's saying deadly or fatal. This one is mild, right? This one is harmful but not fatal, etc. So there are levels to the pain and the risks of flipping the switch. In other words, you know it's harming another person. But in reality, because there's a wall here, right? The participant doesn't really see the other person but can hear the other person. Whenever he flips a switch, it actually connects to a tape recording. And this tape recording will play a sound of a person saying, "Ow, that's painful, let me out. I don't want to be part of this study. Let me out. This is crazy." So in reality, there's actually no one being harmed. But you think as a participant of the study, you are harming another person. But you don't know that, right? So don't worry, there's no one actually being harmed. Maybe this guy, because this guy is now being stressed out from having to inflict harm. Now, when this study was done, the results were astounding. What do you think was the results of the study? Or specifically, how many percent of the participants went all the way to the highest voltage and harmed another person, or so they think, because they were told to do so? The answer is 65%, and that's bloody high. That's really high. Remember, that's all the people who did all the voltages. And I think almost, about everyone flipped the switch. Somehow, or at least in the first 3 levels, they all flipped the switch, even though they know or they think they know that they're harming another person. Right? Now, you're probably wondering, wait, didn't they just say to the experimenter, hey, someone's getting hurt, and I don't think they want to be part of this study anymore. I don't want to be part of this study as well. I'm out. The experimenter has a script, and this experimenter will say, you must continue. You are being told to continue. You cannot stop. So very authoritative scripts or statements that makes this person think, well, I guess I'll just do it because I was told to do so, even though he or she thinks that harm is being experienced by another person. This is the Stanley Milgram experiment, which asked the question, will we harm others just because we were told to do so? And apparently the answer is yes, right? You can read more about this study. You can read the Wikipedia page. I actually got this image from Wikipedia. But now, as good researchers or social science researchers, what we must now do is, now that we have the research question, right, we find the aim, the hypothesis, or specifically the the null hypothesis, the alternative hypothesis, the independent variable, and the dependent variable. Let's do that first. So the research question is, will people inflict harm when pressured to do so? All right. So if you think about it, we can actually just go straight to the IV and DV now. So will people inflict harm to another person if they were pressured to do so? What is the IV? What is being given to the participants that make them inflict harm? The answer is pressure, or like a sense of authority, authoritative command or instruction, right? So with the presence of pressure or authoritative command, will it, what is being observed, or what do we want to see, what behavior, inflict harm? Or there's another word here, you can just say comply or compliance. Are we more likely to comply if there's pressure or an authoritative command? If you use inflict harm or compliance, either way it works with the design of the study. Now, remember, so now let's go back to aim, which is again just a paraphrasing of the research question. What is the aim of the study? So the aim is to find out if adding pressure, all right, adding pressure makes people comply, even if it harms another person, something like that, or any version of that would be enough. It would suffice. Now again, what we're doing is now breaking down the hypothesis into two kinds. The null is the default. Before the study, we haven't proven the answer to the research question. We're still finding out. So the null hypothesis is the no effect. In other words, pressure does not make people comply in doing harmful behavior. So this comply in doing harmful behavior is the DV, right? Or, yep, that's it. Why? Why is there no effect? Remember, this is the null hypothesis. But if you're able to prove the opposite, then you will reject the HO or the null and then accept the alternative hypothesis, which is there is an effect, right? Pressure makes people comply. That's it. And that was proven by the study, right? Because of this, right? Okay. So that's the IV, the DV, the hypothesis, the aim, and the research question. That's about it. So that's a very quick summary of the Stanley Milgram experiment, and there are many documentaries or short videos about this. I hope you can watch it. And then in the next video, we will talk about the Solomon Asch conformity